Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening. This is Harena and Allison, recording from the 12th floor of the Oise building. We're here with Carolyn, Howie, and Maple, who are organizing this year's upcoming Graduate Student Research Conference, and we asked them to stop by and share a bit about the project and how they got involved.
My name is Carolyn. I am a second year PhD student in the Adult Education and Community Development Program, which is part of the Department of Leadership, Higher and Adult Education. The work that I'm doing at OISE right now centers play, and I'm looking at play as a mode of social change, as well as an educational and societal necessity. It's fair to say that I got involved with the GSRC by default because, as the VP academic of the Graduate Students Association, which is the GSA, my role constitutionally is to organize the conference.
Hi, I'm Haoyi. I'm currently a first year PhD student studying developmental psychology and education in the Department of Applied Psychology and Human Development. So, my research is related to how people learn math, and I'm interested in bridging brain sciences and math educations to really design some interventions that's effective and usable in mathematics classroom. And the reason why I'm involved in GSRC is actually because my previous experience working at conferences. I really enjoyed meeting people there. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity. This is my first term. Well, last term was my first term in Boise. So I wanted to use this opportunity to get to know people as well as enjoy the education aspects.
Hi, I'm Maple. I am a first year PhD student in adult education and community development, which is part of the Department of Leadership, Higher, and Adult Education. And my research interests are currently evolving, but at the moment, it's about queer youth of color or queer and trans young adults and looking at community spaces as spaces of not only learning, but unlearning and how healing happens through unlearning. And I came into the GSRC. Actually, I heard about it through Carolyn, and I've heard about the GSRC in my previous years during my master's at OAC, but this was the first time really getting involved. And I was really interested in the idea of just getting together and collaborating on ideas to really make a change. And that's how I got into the GSRC.
The theme of this year's conference is Generative Hope Possibilities in Education Research. Can you speak to the theme and your collaborative process in planning and organizing the GSRC?
So, this is Carolyn. And how it started, I think, was maybe in the interviews that I conducted when I was looking for my co chairs. And naturally, as part of the application process, applicants had to submit their thoughts for the conference, their hopes that their projected outcomes for the conference, and also even to come up with some draft themes, for example. And it was in the process of sifting through the applications that a sort of synergy started to emerge. I had the opportunity to speak with each of the candidates, the shortlist of candidates, and that's when even more synergy emerged. And I think that's how the research generally works, right? It's quite iterative. It's a step by step process.
Yeah, and I remember the first time we got together, the three of us, we went around introducing our own ideas and visions for GSRC. And mine was on collective radical hope. How do we keep hope alive in these times? And this was really inspired a lot by my conversations with my peers, colleagues, and other students who have shared that they are feeling hopeless, right? There's so many things happening around the world that is making us feel hopeless. But at the same time, there's so many wonderful things that are emerging right now. Activism, there's arts, there's so much joy and hope in the making toward better collective futures.
Yeah, so I also do recall first meeting. I think it was a really productive and really nice experience. We started with sharing each of our themes, and then we find overlappings, mostly also because like there was already a theme that is gradually emerging, and then we kind of shared our experience while we are proposing the topic and having these ideas. Then we found a storyline to be able to pieces things together, and that's why we came with the final theme of generative help through multiple pathways. My reason for kind of voting on the cross-disciplinary multiple like pathways, it was also based on previous years of major conferences like AERAs and all those. There is a really nice direction towards people bringing different disciplinary knowledge, practices, research all together. And that is also a theme that after our discussion, we really wanted today's conference to be a stage for people to talk, share freely, and be open minded and be able to collaborate and do something in terms of generating a whole and do something actual in actions towards this nicer future.
Absolutely. And I think in terms of hope, it doesn't happen in silos. It's communities coming together, working together. There's no single answer. We do have to work across disciplines. So I really like that, how you, and then also connecting it with Carolyn's research or interests. It was on sustainability. So I'm going to pass it over to Carolyn to speak on that.
I totally agree with what Haoyi and Maple have said. So interdisciplinary part of things came out in just our individual strengths, right? We have different interests. We have different skills that we bring to life and the world generally. At the heart of it, we all agree that without a natural environment, there can be no hope. So if we're not focused on saving what we can of planet Earth, the hope might be a little bit misguided, I think, or perhaps idealistic even. So it was absolutely necessary to have that very natural environment sustainability as part of what this conference is about. It made sense for the conference to have a partner in the business of sustainability. And I think the universe was really looking out for us because when we were booking rooms, for example, the library obviously came up as a top contender for the opening. There was an event that was going to end on the day that the conference opened. And then I found out that that event was the Sustainability Thinking Exhibition, which is a collaboration between Oise Scan, that's led by Dr. Hilary Inwood, and the School of Environment. And I'm obviously familiar with the School of Environment because I'm doing a collaborative specialization in environmental studies. But it could not have dovetailed any nicer because what's going to happen is that there will be an art exhibition that's there in the library during the opening. And it just made complete and utter sense to team up with Oise Scan as well as the School of the Environment to make the opening a lot more meaningful and to really speak to the messaging of the conference.
Yeah, and on the note of arts and art exhibitions, we're continuing the tradition of the artwork contest that has happened for a couple of years in a row. And in choosing our submissions, a huge part of it was on the alignment with the theme. How well is this meshing in with our theme of generative hope, possibilities in education research? And I'm really excited. I want to announce it right now, but I've been told to hold off on it. So please keep an eye out for that.
And closely aligned with artworks about this year's submissions. All of the submissions are from our OEC community, our current students. And we can see that all departments are really involved this year, which is something really different from previous years. We have like good amount of submission from for example, my department, APHD, I can see that there is clear links between generative hope and its developmental studies, like children's different age groups. And we can also see like the links in there, which is exciting policies. Like a lot of like different things are emerging more than what I pictured myself before I started to review these submissions. I think that is something we really love to see in the conference to start with. We wanted to see people being creative and like generative hope in the sense of generative different hopes of how submissions can go. not forgetting about their curriculum and studies, which is very important, like in schools, how teachers as well as students in collaborations interacting together under the theme of generating hopes in different ways, tying it together with sustainability. So it's not just restricted to school subjects or like something that we are so accustomed to when we talk about education, but it's really just every aspect of life. So that's really nice for us to see this type of like diversity in people's submissions. So we're really looking forward to what we actually present and how that goes.
Even the volunteer base, right? The conference team volunteers from all 4 departments at OISI. And that is only a good thing because it just means that, again, people with different skill sets, life experiences, professional experiences have for these. Maybe we have the privilege of their expertise and their skills. And, some of the ideas that have come out from the volunteer meetings so far also have been, for want of a better word, generative.
For any graduate students listening, can you share a bit about the conference activities? What can students expect when attending the GSRC?
So the most important piece of information to know is that the conference runs from Thursday, March 5th to Saturday, March 7th. It is open to all U of T students across the St. George campus, but it is absolutely necessary that you register. And the registration form can be found on the 2026 GSRC website. You need a UTOR ID to register. If your name is not on the list, we can't guarantee that you'll be let in. Um,
Staff and faculty, you can also register.
the deadline for registration is February 20th, 11:59 p.m. On the Friday evening, from about 5 p.m., will be the Jack Quarter Lectureship in the Nexus Lounge on the 12th floor of the OISI building. It's organized by the Center for Learning, Social Economy, and Work, otherwise known as CLISO.
Some other highlights, you might be interested in roundtable sessions and workshops. These are different panel discussion where you actually get to participate and do something, participate in today's discussion under certain themes. The exact titles of the workshops and roundtables will be out in the program later. Currently, we're still under the submission peer reviewing process. However, what we can tell you is we have two featured panels this year. The first one is a keynote panel happening on the first day, right after the opening speech in the OIZ library. And this one is on the theme of sustainability teaching. This is in collaboration with SOE School of Environmental Studies. So you will be able to hear from our frontier researchers in this area, their thoughts and how they're collaborating to share ideas related to sustainability teaching. And then the other second featured panel we have in conference this year is very different from previous conferences. We're really trying to bringing in this theme of sustainability. So we're thinking about what happens after the conference because we don't want it to be just a place that you come here, you sell your work, and then gone. We wanted this to be a platform that has like sustainable abilities to help support your next steps after conference, being a student, what happens after being a student. So that's why we are designing this panel related to publishing and like journal, how to publish your first paper type of conversation. We are bringing in 3 editors from our OISI University of Toronto-based journals and from multiple different disciplinaries from CTL as well as SJE. So we can cover different disciplines, journal publishings, and really just get our students, our communities getting ready to publish their first piece.
Yeah, and another thing that we're having this year are hybrid options and online options because our focus was on accessibility as well. We were thinking a lot about commuter students, students with disabilities, and really having various modes of accessing and attending this conference. So all of our poster presentations will be online via Zoom and you can drop in anytime. And this goes with any of our sessions this conference. Please, if you have class, we'd still love it if you joined us and then left for class, maybe came back. And finally, I think how you mentioned something about wanting students to take away something from this experience. And I remember that as an interview question. What are we hoping students to take out? And how do we know that this conference will be successful? And for me, and I think for us as well, it's students, it's our peers coming together and not only sharing their research and listening to each other, but coming out feeling more hopeful and bringing that into their work, whether that is their schoolwork, their activism work, whatever it may be, leaving more hopeful and building this future together.
Thank you for bringing that up, Maple, because I heard on a podcast, funnily enough, Krista Tippett. Are you familiar with Krista Tippett, who does the On Being podcast? There was a quick conversation with, I believe, Ross Gay, something. And Krista Tippett mentioned, she said the phrase, hope is a muscle. And it's absolutely true. Hope is a muscle. And if you don't work a muscle, it atrophies. And what we're hoping to achieve with this conference is to work that muscle and prevent atrophy and to encourage people to work it in a way that is comfortable for them, in a way that is sustainable for them, and most important, in a way that is also at least somewhat joyful for them. Fun and joy are very important elements in these times.
I agree. I think I really resonate. I do also remember, like in the interview, we had this question coming up, what we want our students leaving with. And then also in our first meeting together, when we talk about the theme of this conference, it's really this thing about like hope. We want this conference to be some place that students can feel safe and can really just being open-minded and being able to share without judgments. And generative hope is the thing, yes.
Harena and I want to thank the three of you. I think there was definitely a very hopeful conversation, and you gave us a lot of things to think about. And I know that we're both inspired by your action.
Thank you guys. This has been very impactful. Even just sitting here speaking with you has been very impactful. And I just see the passion and it's very inspiring. It really, truly is. And I think this was going to be at the helm. You guys, I trust you with the helm of this conference. I really do.
Yeah, and I hope
And I
that
think it's going to be great. I'm
yes,
excited.
I hope that tons of grad students hear this and are excited and come out to the conference. And if they aren't stepping forward this year to volunteer and to be part of it, I think that you certainly inspire other people and hopefully they'll be inspired not only to attend and to learn, but also to participate in the future.
Yeah, yeah.
Here, here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.